Amazing battle between Gojo and Sukuna going on. What if I'll say to you Gojo will definitely lose in next few chapter. So don't waste your more time, let's dive into the video. There are some good points which I will show you that will prove Gojo will definitely lose in next few chapters, so watch carefully. Satoru Gojo and Ryomen Sukuna's fight against each other continue. We witnessed how strong is Gojo. Gojo is like God in JJK. In Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 223, Gojo and Sukuna fight starts with this chapter where Gojo going directly into an attack against Sukuna with a 200% hollow purple. While Sukuna is in defensive mode, Sukuna blocked Gojo's 200% hollow and took huge amount of damage. In this chapter Gojo threatened Sukuna with his opening attack. So 200 purple took large amount of cursed energy. Gojo thought he'll finish Sukuna with one blow, but that was Gojo's misunderstanding. Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 224 is the ineffectiveness of Sukuna's attacks against Gojo's infinity. On the other hand, while the chapter does show Sukuna bypassing the infinity barrier with a physical attack, in this chapter Gojo declared he won't show mercy on Megumi cause he looks alike his father. We know how good relation Gojo and Toji have. After this we Gojo and Sukuna's hand-to-hand combat, where Gojo have upper hand as always and he crushed Sukuna. This time Sukuna used his dismantle, which is not his strongest technique, so he is just saving his strongest technique for later. Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 225. Gojo and Sukuna were evenly matched inside of Unlimited Void, but Malevolent Shrine's reach extends beyond its barrier. A domain's barrier was weak against attacks from the outside. Sukuna used Dismantle to break down the barrier of Unlimited Void, while Malevolent Shrine's sure hit effect immediately slashed Gojo's neck. JJK chapter 226 we saw Sukuna suppressed Gojo's domain, and slashed Gojo's body very badly. As long as Gojo will be in Sukuna's domain, he cannot escape from Sukuna's slashed attack. That's why Gojo used simple domain so he can use reverse curse technique in Sukuna's domain and heal himself. This time Sukuna forced him to use his reversal red. JJK chapter 227 Gojo and Sukuna again used their domain expansions, but then we see hand-to-hand inside their domain. This chapter proved Sukuna can neutralize Gojo's Limitless with his domain amplification. In this chapter Geto said the only ones unaffected by Infinity Void are Gojo Satrao himself and anyone he directly touches. After this Sukuna used Binding Vow to extend his domain expansion so he can destroy Unlimited Void. After all of this we know as long as he would be in Sukuna's domain, he will get slashes in body. Again Gojo used his secret family technique, Falling Blossom Emotion, to counter Sukuna's slashes, but this technique ain't do a shit against Sukuna's domain. Gojo now used his domain third time. JJK chapter 228 Sukuna again destroyed Gojo's domain from outside. JJK chapter 229 Sukuna and Gojo used their domain expansion at the same time. This is Gojo 4th domain expansion. After this Gojo again used his domain expansion 5th time. This time Gojo beated Sukuna in domain battle. Gojo Unlimited Void crushed Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine. Sukuna summoned Mahoraga to save his ass from Gojo and adapted Gojo's domain in less than a second. JJK chapter 230 Now this time, Gojo realized Mahoraga adapt my Unlimited Void in less than 0.01, without turning the spin, and Megumi's soul was taking the damage of adaptation as Megumi's soul. Gojo said he will crush Mahoraga with one attack in his domain, but Gojo was unable to use his domain because that will affect his brain and our Gojo will be die. So Gojo cannot use his domain now. This goes for Sukuna as well. JJK 231 Hand-to-hand combat started in this chapter. Sukuna used his domain amplification to bypass Gojo's Limitless. Countdown started where Gojo declared he will kill Sukuna before third spin. If you watch till now, please like the video. JJK chapter 232. Sukuna engaged Gojo in fight so Mahoraga can adapt. Gojo used his technique like Blue Orbs, Black Flash and Reversal Red, which blast after completing a lap to kill Gojo, but again Mahoraga saved him. This time Mahoraga completely adapt Gojo Infinity. JJK chapter 233. Gojo and Mahoraga face off where Gojo showed him why through the heaven and earth he is only honored one. In this chapter Sukuna was in protected mode. He was saving Mahoraga, and Sukuna can use his Shikigami abilities without summon them. Finally Sukuna used some new technique Piercing Blood, which deal high damage with Gojo, and summoned Ajito. JJK chapter 234. At last we saw 3v1 and Gojo still dominates but unable to finish those beasts with 100% and 120% hollow purple. It's clear that Sukuna can bypass infinity with domain amplification. In domain battle Gojo lost every single one. And you can see Gojo is offensive but Sukuna is playing defensive, so that's the increases the chances of Gojo to lose this fight. Now you would say, so how will Gojo lose? That doesn't make any sense. So let me clear this. In chapter 234 I clearly explain this. Gojo is getting weakened, that's why his 120% hollow purple didn't deal much damage like before. And Sukuna will definitely use his technique like cleave spiderweb fire arrow. So it's not hard to judge who is gonna take the W, it's clear obviously Sukuna. The both cannot use domain expansion because if they will use one more domain expansion that will explode their brains.